There've been fishes in the ocean, higher than any bird ever flew, longer than there've been stars up in the heavens. I've been in love with you. Stronger than any mountain cathedral, truer than any tree ever grew, deeper than any forest primeval. I am in love with you. I'll bring fire in the winters, you'll send showers in the springs. We'll fly through the falls and summers with love on our wings. Through the years, as the fire starts to mellow, burning lines in the book of our lives, though the binding cracks and the pages start to yellow, I'll be in love with you. I'll be in love with you. Longer than there've been fishes in the ocean, higher than any bird ever flew, longer than there've been stars up in the heavens. I've been in love with you. I am in love with you.
Side of the road, let me go and stand a while. I wanna know you're there, but I wanna be alone. If only for a minute or two, I wanna see what it feels like to be without you. I wanna know the touch of out in a field, the grass was high, brushed against my legs. I just stood and looked out at the open space and a farmhouse out a ways. And I wondered about the people who lived in it, and I wondered if they were happy and content. Children and a man and a wife. Did she love him and take her hair down at night? If I stray away too far from you, don't go and try to find me. It doesn't mean I don't love you. It doesn't mean I won't come back and stay beside you. It only means I need a little time to follow that unbroken
everything. From her sun-tanned shoulders down to the freckles on her wedding ring. Her feet are so warm, they could melt the snow in the early spring. She is my everything. She goes everywhere. From Copenhagen to making eggs and bacon down on Jackson Square. I like to drive a Cadillac the color of her long black hair. She goes everywhere. Kisses that come all the way from China kinda remind her of memories of Spain. If I get lost, you can always find her standing right beside me in the rain. She uses the ever-ready batteries to keep her electrical appliances going steady. She can do 14 things at once and then her phone will ring. She is my everything. Everybody, from Muhammad Ali to teaching Bruce Lee how to do karate. She can lead a parade while putting on her shades in her Maserati. She knows everybody. Kisses that come all the way from China kinda remind her of memories of Spain. If I get lost, you can always find her standing right beside me in the rain. She is my everything. When she wakes up in the morning, that's when the birdies start to sing. When I hear her voice, I tell you boys, I forget everything. She is my everything. She is my everything. Watch out.
Dearly beloved family and friends, we are gathered here today to remember the life of Deborah Katharine Heller, known to us as Debbie and to a special few as Mom. Debbie, her family, her caretakers, and her friends fought valiantly to maintain the highest quality of life for her as multiple sclerosis took a greater and greater toll on her body over the past 20 years. We wish there were a cure, or at least better treatment for MS, so that we could have had Debbie longer. I am Reverend Katie Scudera, and I am the lead minister here at First Parish in Needham Unitarian Universalist, where Debbie and her husband Jeff are members and where they raised their 3 children, Jesse, Chrissy, and Gary. I'd like to personally welcome all of you to our meeting house today. I deeply appreciate that you've traveled or dialed in from near and far to support Debbie's family. Please remember that the Heller family welcomes those of you here in Needham to a reception in our parish hall immediately following this service, and that the congregation's COVID task force requests that you wear your masks over your nose and mouth at all times unless speaking from a microphone. We hope that this service will capture Debbie's spirit and her life as a loving sister, wife, friend, mother, a dedicated educator and healer, and a gardener, reader, and cook who made all feel welcome in her home. Thank you all for being here, and again, welcome to all of you. I now invite forward Debbie's children, Jesse, Chrissy, and Gary, to light our chalice, symbol of the Unitarian Universalist faith, and offer a reading from Unitarian politician Adlai Stevenson that he wrote for First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt.
No one who does not respect others can respect life, and to respect life is to love it. She loved life, and that, perhaps, is the most meaningful thing that can be said about her, for it says so much beside. It takes courage to love life. Loving it demands imagination and perception, and loving it takes something more beside. It takes a gift for life, a gift for love. And now we must say farewell. We are always saying farewell in this world, always standing at the edge of loss, attempting to retrieve some memory, some human meaning from the silence, something which was precious and is gone. What we have lost is not her life. She lived that out to the full. What we have lost, what we wish to recall for ourselves, to remember, is what she was herself. We pray that she has found peace and a glimpse of sunset. But today, we weep for ourselves. We are lonelier. Someone has gone from our life who was like a certainty of refuge.
Thank you all. Please now rise in body or in spirit and join in singing All Fly Away. The lyrics are in your orders of service.
Some bright morning when this life is over, I'll fly away.
As we begin this memorial celebration of Debbie Heller, please join me in the spirit of prayer and reflection so that we may center ourselves on this precious present moment. Let's take a deep breath together, breathing in and breathing out. Together we pray these words from UU Minister, Reverend Patricia Sheldon. In this hour of holy stillness, we gather to honor the life and the person who we love. In this hour of holy stillness, we remind ourselves that the flames of life and love are never fully extinguished. In this hour of holy stillness, we offer ourselves for sharing the weight of each other's grief. In this hour of holy stillness, we offer the strength of our love to help others survive their pain and grief. In this hour of holy stillness, we call forth from each of us the power we offer out of life, out of loss, and out of love. Amen.
Look around me. I can see my life before me, running rings around the way it used to be. I am older now, I have more than what I wanted, but I wish that I had started long before I did. And there's so much time to make up everywhere you turn. Time we have wasted on the way. So much water moving underneath the bridge. Let the water come and carry us away. Oh, when you were young, did you question all the answers? Did you envy all the dancers who had all the nerve? Look around you now, you must go for what you wanted. Look at all my friends who did and got what they deserved. And there's so much time to make up everywhere you turn. Time we have wasted on the way. So much water moving underneath the bridge. Let the water come and carry us away. And there's so much time to make up everywhere you turn. Love we have wasted on the way. So much water moving underneath the bridge. Let the water come and carry us away. Let the water come and carry us away.
Thank you, Gail, for offering a piece so close to Debbie and to Jeff's heart. I now invite forward Debbie's friend, Mike Harrigan, to introduce us to our format for Debbie's memorial service.
Elie Wiesel was an author and a Nobel laureate. He was a Romanian Jew that when he was an adolescent, he was sent to Auschwitz. And ever since then, he tried to make sense of it all. He wrote many books, but I'm reading from a book called Gates of the Forest. That's the preface I'd like to share with you. It goes like this. In a kingdom a long time ago, a plague came upon the land. The rabbi at that time knew what to do. He knew where to go in the forest, how to build the right altar, and what particular prayer to say. Suffice it to say, the plague went away. Later, another plague came, and the rabbi at that time, he knew where to go in the forest and how to build the altar, but he couldn't remember the prayer. But it was enough, the plague went away. As time passed, another plague came, and the rabbi at that time knew where to go in the forest, but he couldn't remember how to build the altar, and he couldn't remember the prayer. But it was enough, the plague went away. And recently, the plague came upon the land. The rabbi couldn't remember where to go in the forest. He couldn't remember what kind of altar to build. He couldn't remember the prayer, but he remembered the story. And that was good enough. The moral is, God created people because he likes stories. Some people would say that stories are very healing. You're going to hear a few today.
Thank you, Mike. 3 of Debbie's friends will now share stories, as memories of Debbie are a blessing to us and stories help us to heal. I first invite forward Debbie's friend, April Gustafson, to offer her reading and memories of Debbie, beginning with words from poet Claire Harner's "Do Not Stand at My Grave and Weep."
Do not stand at my grave and weep. I am not there. I do not sleep. I am 1,000 winds that blow. I am the diamond glints on snow. I am the sunlight on ripened grain. I am the gentle autumn rain. When you awaken in the morning's hush, I am the swift, uplifting rush of quiet birds in circled flight. I am the soft stars that shine at night. Do not stand at my grave and cry. I am not there. I did not die. I've known Debbie since the 5th grade when we met, and quickly realized we were kindred spirits. We loved animals. We loved all critters, anything nature. And inspired by our favorite TV show, Daktari, we made plans to travel to Africa. Somewhere, the detailed list of supplies we would need still exists. I think Deb saved them, either my mom or Rosemary saved them, but we read them together about 20 years ago and laughed about how filet mignon was on our list of food to bring, but more about how we spelled it. Debbie turned me on to nature training school in the summers. She and her brothers attended this camp run by the then Worcester Science Center. I absolutely loved it. It was some of the best days of my life. It was 2 weeks in the summer, and we learned all about our favorite things. Pond life, insects, it was fun. Debbie tackled everything with competitive high energy. I think she got that from her 4 brothers. But her NTS notebooks always won the first place blue ribbon. She somehow transferred that energy to others. She wanted you to succeed also. She's the reason I know the difference between a bracken and a Boston fern and a leopard and a pickerel frog. When not in camp during our summer vacations from grade school, we mucked around the neighborhoods. We knew every brook, pond, and swamp in town, and what creatures lived in or around them. We set up aquariums and caught minnows, newts, pollywogs, salamanders, so we could observe them. We did our science project together in the 6th grade, reptiles and amphibians. That's a narrow subject. And we made clay models of all kinds of turtles and frogs for days. Next came our synchronized swimming career together. We were synchronized swimmers all through high school together. Debbie and my sister Stephanie were good. I was a hack. But her competitive energy made me better. She was always sharing, like I said, tips and tricks, and so she did help me improve. She made me a better synchronized swimmer. We practiced every Friday after school for 2 hours at the Worcester YWCA. We would be frozen and exhausted, and whoever was picking us up used to always yell into the locker room, "Aren't you kids out of that shower yet?" We were so cold that we'd be in there for half an hour underwater that was as hot as you could stand. Later, when we had our licenses, we drove ourselves to and from practice. We'd actually take turns on the way home. Debbie would start out, if she got bleary-eyed from the chlorine, she'd say, "I'm done, your turn." We'd pull over and trade. Because of our synchronized swimming training, we were used a lot at the Y to be drowning victims for the life-saving course. We'd exhale, sink to the bottom, and then wait to be rescued. Debbie loved sleeping over at my house, especially after a Friday swim practice, for 2 really good reasons. Number 1, to get a break from her 4 brothers, and number 2, she loved Saturday breakfast at 4 Yale Avenue. It was bacon and eggs fried in the bacon fat, of course. And my dad would come home from the post office to join us with a box of donuts from Angie's. Through our work at the Y came a stint volunteering at Windy Hill in Worcester, which was a summer camp for handicapped children. It was hard physical work, pushing wheelchairs with kids in them that couldn't run on their own across a lumpy field to play a very disorganized game of soccer. But we loved how the kids loved it. Then we'd take them down to Coe's Pond and let them swim. I remember there was this one boy who had leg braces who loved to swim, and you wheel him down to the water, get him out, help him take off his braces, and once he got near the water, he took off like a seal. Freaked us out a little bit the first time because he'd be swimming under the dock, and I mean, he was free. So Debbie was always meant to be a teacher, and after college, she taught in a field where she knew full well what MS had in store for her, but I never heard her complain. She remained always optimistic, joyful, never said, "Why me?" She was always smiling and glad to see her friends and kept active, thanks to Jeff, despite her limitations, an inspiring example. I am sad for myself and all the others still here that will miss her, but I can't be sad for her, because now, like the boy without braces in Coe's Pond, she's free.
Thank you, April. I now invite forward Debbie's friends, Martha Macbeth, to offer her reading and memories of Debbie, beginning with words from polymath Rabindranath Tagore's The Gardener.
Peace, my heart. Let the time of parting be sweet. Let it not be a death, but completeness. Let love melt into memory and pain into song. Let the flight through the sky end in the folding of the wings over the nest. Let the last touch of your hands be gentle. Like the flower of the night. Stand still, O beautiful end, for a moment, and say your last words in silence. I bow to you and hold up my lamp to light you on your way. Debbie and I first crossed paths sophomore year at Ithaca College. Debbie showed me how to slow down and enjoy the beauty of flowers and nature. I never met anyone like her. Her perspective and how she viewed the world enriched my life. I can never see a delicate flower without thinking of her. She put the D in domestic. Debbie could cook, sew, embroider, knit, and grow food. Her generosity is legendary. Her handmade creations were infused with love. There was nothing more precious than receiving a handmade gift from Debbie. Her first trip out of the country was to visit Guatemala, where we lived, and meet my newborn son. She was a giver, and when it came time to receive and be on the other side, she navigated that journey with grace. Of all the myriad reflections of our long friendship, her ability to receive care and support was one of the biggest gifts of all. She set the bar high as an example of the gold standard of generosity. Debbie let us reflect the best of her. Being with Debbie was a gift always, and although we could not dance standing up, we continued to reshape our relationship and learn to dance in our hearts.
Thank you, Marta. I now invite forward Debbie's friend, Trisha Godfrey, to offer her reading and memories of Debbie, beginning with words from author and Reform Rabbi Rami Shapiro's Gates.
At each moment of our lives, we encounter gates beyond which beckon the unknown. We have little choice but to enter, and as we do, the gates swing shut behind us. We can never go back. The known, the comfortable, the safe, and all these are in the past. Moving on makes us human. Doing so lightly and at peace makes us divine. Eventually, we come to the final gate, the final closing. The trail ends, leaving behind only memories of steps taken, leaps tried, grace achieved and shared. How do we honor this final gate? With tears and stories and memories, with memories and love, with food and friends, always plentiful at the Hellers, and with silence. Silence is the heart of death, and silence alone does it justice, but silence does not mean passivity. And our tradition speaks of 4 virtues that form the core of silence. First is hearing. Hearing is the inner voice of our pain and love, rejoicing that nothing, not even the grave, can rob us from that supreme human emotion. The second is memory, reclaiming the past by refusing to forget the joys it once held. The third is action. We must honor our dead by continuing to live ourselves. Their memory is quickened. Only in the fullness of our own lives, our own future, our own ongoing struggles to make sense out of an often senseless world. The fourth is wisdom. Every life is a teaching, and Debbie went way far and beyond anyone could. Every person, a guide to truth. Hearing, memory, action, wisdom. May each of these find a place in our silence, our grief, and our moving out again into the world where yet another gate beckons wide.
Thank you, Trisha. Please now rise in body or in spirit and join in singing our next hymn, Spirit of Life, twice through. The lyrics are in your orders of service. I invite forward Debbie's brothers, Pete, Jim, and Dave, with Tom participating online, to offer their reading from humanist and activist Dr. John Lovejoy Elliott, The Human Heart, and to offer a memory.
The love of the human heart is the most real and the most beautiful of all the realities we know. It is the richest gift of our personhood. It is the love that joins us together as lovers, as husband and wife, as parents and children, siblings and cousins, and as friends and neighbors. Whatever the length of time may be, to have known something of this is to have experienced the supreme privilege of being human.
The anguish of parting cannot destroy the most real of all realities. The love has been, the affection has existed, the ties have been woven. Life has been shared, the joys and the sorrows. This has been as real and as strong as anything in life. The love that once was born can never die, for it has become part of us, of our life, woven into every texture of our being.
Each of us would wish to leave some part of ourselves. Yes, every one of us. Some memory, some influence of good. So here and now we bear witness to the one we knew in life. who now in death bequeaths a subtle part, precious and beloved, which will be with us in truth and beauty, in dignity and courage and love, to the ends of our days.
So everything I'm about to say is not going to be completely personal. It's not going to be me and my relationship with my sister. Everyone here in this room, I believe, is every bit as close to her as I was. We may have had the advantage of being together as kids, but soon after she left, I know everyone in this room is likely to have been overwhelmed by the same love and the same passion within your relationships with her as it was for me and us as her little brothers. And unfortunately, we have had our fair share of loss in the past year or so, 2, 3. We've lost my parents, uncle. We've lost friends and family to COVID. It's been bad. And a lot of that for me was, as a caretaker. I was that guy in the family who helped my parents and my uncle move on in life, and that was hard. It was hard, but hard in a different way. They lived wonderful lives, beautiful lives. But I'm sorry, but it's nothing like a sib. Nothing like losing a sister. No, it's nothing like losing Deb. This is hard. This is painful. And yeah, it's a little bit angry. It leaves a pretty huge void for me, for all of you. I know. But then I think about Deb's family, Jeff and Gary and Jess and Chrissy. My losses suddenly seems pretty small compared to theirs. This is pretty tiny. So maybe it's best that I steer away from loss. It's could keep us crying here for days. And I don't want to talk about loss. I'd like to talk about having a big sister. A big sister with 4 brothers. And there is this story that had been going around pretty much our whole life. And that was how Deb broke in our parents, made it easier for us, Who came up with that? No, really, who came up with that? There is simply no getting around it. You all gotta know this. She was the princess in the house. Never in trouble, except maybe one time at the top of the stairs at the, prom night, 4 a.m. Yeah, all the boys heard that one. We heard it pretty loud. But it's really, there's no other way it could be. Just imagine 4 boys, 4 hockey sticks, and 4 pairs of skates before the age of 5. Well, we broke everything. We broke windows. We broke china. We broke neighbors' windows. We broke teeth. We broke bones. No. Saying that Deb was princess in the house, I mean, she had it made. She had it made. And I'm sorry, Skip, I know you're listening, but you were no help. You were just one big honking mush when it came to Deb. From start to finish, we got the one time, maybe. One. Whew. You know, every time Deb would even whimper, you know, a little cry, a little something, you know, all those fake cries that little princesses can pull off. She had them all. She knew them all. And somehow, some way, the supersonic hearing of my parents would come flying. And Rosemary would come with the Lux Liquid. Dad, he came with the ATO paddle. And, you know, Rosemary, the Lux Liquid was simple enough, you know. But I didn't do it, Mom. I just saw you in the window. I saw you do it. Okay. Had you told me, you know, that evidence ahead of time, I might not have lied. But, so, and Dad, and that paddle, sat right on the mantle. ATO paddle. Right there in the playroom where everybody could see it. And I don't know why, but they always seem to like just skip over my older brother Pete, you know, Sweet Pea, ATO, valedictorian, you know, all the way, yeah. Skip right over him and right to me. You know, this is not just Hall. It's paddle. Period. Really, that's the way it went. And let's face it, that paddle never touched Deb's butt once. Not even once. Nope. Sorry. Simply said, big sisters rule and little brothers drool. Right, Gary? Hell, you got double princess syndrome in your house. I can't imagine. I mean, how many times do you think Deb mowed the lawn? Shoveled the snow. Took out the stinky trash. Yeah, we had a spreadsheet on the fridge. And Deb, blank. She was like right in. Go to the grocery store with Rosemary. Oh, come on. Nope. And the other thing she always got was the best seat, the front seat in the car. Who gets that? We didn't. I mean, vacations or anything. We didn't go on airplanes on vacations. We went in station wagons, right? We went in those station wagons, those giant station wagons in the 60s that, yeah. She somehow got in the front seat because Mom had to sit in the middle seat. But do you remember those other seats? There's one more set of seats. You buy the right wagon, and there are seats in the way back. You know, the ones that... What? Really? The ones that faced the other way? I mean, can you imagine trying to play that alphabet game on all the signs? There's hey. Yeah, okay. Sorry, I missed it. No, I missed it. I kept missing them. And anything else, too, you know? What was between that seat and the middle seat? Everything packed to the top. First, we'd go to Uncle Ed's house and get this gigantic box that dropped the length of the entire station wagon, drop it down on a conveyor because he was an amazing engineer, and boom, fill it up to the top. The station wagon would be riding dead right on its tailpipe. There I am, sitting in the tailpipe. Boom, 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 boom. Great 8-hour trip. Real bonding. But all kidding aside, there was some real change when Deb reached high school and got into sophomore, junior, senior year. I mean, this person that you all know and love, I got to see it come out, just come out. It was so beautiful. She was the most insane example of love of life, love of everything. Her giving, her nature, everything. It was just exploded. And now I'm going to get a little more personal, and yes, I am going to make it a little bit about me. There was a time in my life where I wasn't moving closer to my parents. It's a time in my life where she was ending her high school career and I was beginning my high school career, and I was moving away from my parents. I was talking to them less and less. And I can tell you right now, if Deb wasn't there for me to talk to, my life and my path may have gone different. She flooded me with music. We went to concerts together. I went to my first concert with her, America, at Wang Center. They went on and on, on and on. She cared for me personally. It was a little strange. She began to like me and like us. I'll tell you an example of when I knew she was on my side. Christmas, 72, maybe 73, she gave me an album for Christmas. Grammy was there too. It was Grand Funk Railroad. This is an American band. And if you fold the cover open, the entire band is standing there naked with minimal amounts of coverage. But she loved music. She loved sharing music. She loved caring about making sure I was not missing that love of life. And that time in your life was so important. It's also a time, I think, that she saved my life, because I was coming up soon to be going to college, and I was going to make a decision that was very different from what my parents wanted. My parents wanted the same thing: all boys, all Maine, all engineering, all the time. No exceptions. Well, yeah, maybe David, by that time it was like, whatever. But needless to say, for me, it was all California, Colorado, Utah, and all about being a ski bum. Couldn't get enough, didn't want to stop doing it. Deb looked at that and basically said, okay, I can get you the skiing, I can get you in forestry instead of engineering, and if you do those two and you go to Maine, we got a deal here. She brokered the deal. I ended up going to Maine. Deb finished her career, and then I promptly flunked out of UMO in 3 semesters, went home, lived at home, was given a third shift job in the plastics factories of Clinton, Mass, and then went back to school locally where my parents felt that they could keep an eye on me. Well, that worked for a little while. And this is a time where Deb saved my life for a second time. I couldn't let go of my love of skiing. There was a snowstorm in January of '81. School was canceled and I was gone. Me and a bunch of friends straight to Stratton, and perfect day, perfect snow, perfect powder, perfect sun, right up until the moment I shattered my femur into 11 pieces. And as that day went on, and that day continued on, bouncing down the hill with where the ski patrol thought I had a twisted knee, and so they braced my knee, and we bounced down the hill with a shattered femur. And it went on into Brattleboro Hospital, and they started asking me who to call. Who should we talk to? Well, my parents were on their way to Florida. My girlfriend, I'd only known her a month. I knew her home phone number, but she was already back at Lowell Tech. But I did happen to mention, hey, but my sister, she works at Longwood Orthopedics. And within a day or so, Debbie had talked to the attending, and Debbie then talked to her boss. I don't know if anybody of you saw the book on the table. Well, that book is signed by Bill. That's Bill Southmain, chief orthopedic surgeon on a number of hospitals, not the least of which were Mass General and New England Baptist. And I was brought to New England Baptist in a day, and they knew that a shattered femur meant a lot more than a broken bone. It meant there's fat going into your blood, and that fat's going to go up to your lungs, and that lungs are going to get plugged. So by all accounts, no matter how you look at it, that was the second time that Deb saved my life. And from that moment in my life, during that 4 months of recovery, everything in my life, everything, and I mean everything, changed. I realized everything that was important in life, and everything kept pointing at Debbie and who she was and what she meant and how clear it was the importance of family and love of family and how important those previous 21 years were with my brothers and my sisters. I mean, right to the top of priorities in life. So how many of you have been saved by Deb? How many of you have been inspired by her so much that you've saved a life because of her? How many of you chose to raise the bar, your personal bar, because of Deb? I'm not saying something that everybody doesn't know here. How many choose to give more of yourself? Because, watching somebody who gave everything and took nothing. We all need to learn to live, love, learn, and give the way my sister did. And if I could get my pockets straightened out, I just want you all to know that I ended up with the very best one of all of them.
So, since most of my time allocation was taken by my older brother, I'm going to keep this brief. So Debbie and I had 9 years between us, so we didn't have those intense growing up experiences like my other 3 brothers. But I do really appreciate the mentions of things like nature training school. I was busy trying to win the wiffle ball game, not find, the different types of salamanders. But it was a great experience. And With Debbie, we would do the simple things like weed the iris garden and put on WTAG, Worcester, Massachusetts, AM radio, and crank that up to my dad's discontent. And we would do things like, at one time, I was into fishing, and I'd said, Deb, let's go fishing. And we go down to the Quinnipoxet, and Jack, you would have been proud of me, because that fish was big, even at high noon, so you would have been proud. But some of the memories I have of Debbie are things like, and a bunch of people remember this, when she was driving around in her bright orange Carmen Ghia that was almost a perfect match for those flowing locks. Or I would just go down and visit her when she was working at St. Leo's, I think it was, down in New Bedford, or Longwood Orthopedics, and she lived right on Jamaica Plain, and we would spend some really great time together. And a lot of that time was based on music and concerts. You know, we had great times at places like Tanglewood, going to see Bonnie Raitt and Jeff Healey and Little Feat, and it was, she exposed me to the beauty of music and the healing power of music. But there was one thing that was, it was kind of interesting. I think it was an Easter event weekend. She had come home, she all dressed up, and I noticed she had these really cool stockings on. And I'm like, Deb, those stockings, I got to admit, are amazing. Like that paisley, design. Where did you get those? She said, Dave, they're not paisley. I just haven't shaved my legs in a while. Wow. So, as you know, Debbie was viciously independent, but as brothers, we all know collectively she was smarter than all of us. And we're gonna miss her dearly. And Jeff, I just want to say thank you. Absolutely. You were just an absolute rock for, the last several decades. And like my brother Jimmy, who was busy taking care of my parents when they were really ill, Jeff, you were just a rock. So thank you so much.
Thank you all. I now invite forward Debbie's daughter, Jessie, to offer her reading and memories of her mom.
I don't have a reading, I'm just doing my own reading of it. Debbie was truly an incredible woman. She was a caring and supportive friend, a passionate and admired professor, a lover of and advocate for our natural world. She was a devoted and loving wife, and to me, she was mom. As a mom, she was a force and a consistent presence in my life and all her children. Mom was always interested in being involved in all aspects of our lives, and she took on many roles as our mother. She wore many faces. For Mom had a way of letting you read her thoughts and intentions all over her face. Growing up, we often joked about the look, which was a stern expression, usually reserved for my dad, sometimes with an accompanying Jeffrey. And while the look was infamous, mostly because my dad earned it quite often with his antics, she could also stop us kids dead in our tracks. I remember once being out at a restaurant with Mom and Grammy, and I was sitting in the booth, bouncing my feet against the back of the bench, thump, thump, thump. Mom politely asked me to stop a few times, and I thought I was being clever and proceeded to keep going, just tapping it lightly, well, thump, thump, thump. But then I looked up at Mom, and she was staring right at me with fierce eyes locked on mine that said without words, "I know what you're doing, and if you keep it up, you'll be in trouble." I seem to remember Grammy also whispering, "You're lucky your mom's nice, because I would have had you by the hair and out of here for that." I had always felt like Mom was a strict mom, especially as I started to get older and compared with some of my other friends' moms. In reality, she just set really firm limits and kept high expectations with us. Though however strict I thought she was for not letting me eat all my Halloween candy, or making us complete our chores, or not allowing me to go see the PG-13 movie that had the French kissing couple. She never yelled. When I would be putting up a fight as a young girl, Mom always responded with a calm but stern tone, and then it would turn to a slow, silent pause with a look. And that meant the conversation was over and time for me to stomp off to my bedroom. The reality is, Mom wasn't strict with her children. She just took such an active role in guiding us through the challenges and phases of our lives. She created a structured world for us to grow in and didn't waver on the guidelines and limits that she set. She was always so organized, setting up a menu for the week, having a chores chart, going through legal pad after legal pad, because she was a lover of lists. She shared that with us, along with her love of the satisfaction of crossing things off the list. She would sometimes put something on a list that was already done just so she could cross it off. Like, make a list, done. I'm grateful for what she taught me about staying organized, because if you know me at all, my ADD brain would not survive without my lists. She was always looking at us and watching out for what life would throw our way and how to best prepare us. Mom nurtured my adventurous spirit. She inspired my creative side. She challenged me to understand and manage my faults, encouraged me to be strong and resilient in the face of failure. She helped me in every way become the person I am today. When I picture her now, it's her eyes that I see. I see all of her looks. I see the way she looked at me with a spark of excitement in her eye when I would arrive home after being away. I see the relaxed expression and soft warmth that would emanate from her when I was confiding in her about a problem or some pain. I see the subtle eye roll with a hint of a smile when I'd make a stupid joke or tease her. I see the look of a full heart and deep love that she would get when we were all together with loved ones, with that beautiful, vibrant smile that she had in full swing. Mom had this way of looking at me, and I think of everyone, and truly seeing me and expressing her feelings and sentiments. It reminds me of the experience of looking at an elephant's eyes. Mom always loved hearing about my experiences with elephants, from when I went to Kenya as a child to my more recent time in Thailand, and she often bought me elephant-themed gifts. I wonder if she felt connected to their spirit. An elephant's eyes are so small compared to the size of their body, but they're deeply emotive and powerful. You can feel the spirit and memory and emotion held within, and it was like that with Mom. Her spirit and love could be felt from just a look. So Mom, whether it be the look of love and pride or the stern, "you're gonna be in trouble" look, I know that you're still looking at me from the stars. Even though I can't see it, I can feel it. J.R.R. Tolkien wrote of a moment in the darkness when the clouds parted and a single star was visible. And he wrote that in the end, the shadow is but a small and passing thing. There is light and high beauty forever beyond its reach. Mom, you are the light forever beyond the shadow's reach.
Thank you, Jesse. I now invite forward Debbie's husband, Jeff, to offer his memories, his reading of his wife.
Wow. I'm overwhelmed with the love and support of the community. And I appreciate all the sharing, and I hope I can hold a candle to the sharing to others. Thank you. Give me a moment. I'm happy for the new life that is joining us as well today, as we mourn the passing of one, the circle of life here. So please bear with me as I try to get through this. We considered having someone else read this for me, but I've seen the long faces and the tears, so I don't think it'd be any easier for anyone else. So let me tell you a story of a country girl who conquered the world. She grew up in a small town with a big family. Her first time away from home was when she went to college. Now, not the most outgoing, a little shy, but her infectious smile and enthusiasm, she immediately made lifelong friends, which I was one of many. She was such a good friend to many, sharing herself, her art, and gifting many embroidered shirts and jackets of favorite album covers. I never got one. She worked hard at keeping these friendships strong as she started her career as a physical therapist living on her own. She started to expand her world, even though she didn't travel much before, other than her parents piling the 5 children in the station wagon with a rumble seat to travel to Michigan and other places. She began traveling to visit friends all over. The first time she ever left the country, she visited a friend in Guatemala who was excited for the visit, but she asked her why she came during the rainy season. She met each new challenge and interest with enthusiasm and passion. She got her master's in anatomy pretty much on her own, which led to the next step in her career as a college professor of physical therapy at Simmons College, teaching PT and anatomy. She mentored and inspired many students with her dedication, generosity, and mutual respect. She leaves students, faculty, colleagues, clinical co-workers, and many doctors memories of her smile, her energy, her joy in her family, and her dedication to her profession. Since 2000, Simmons continues to select one exceptional DPT student each year at commencement to receive the Deborah Heller Award for Outstanding Achievement in Physical Therapy in her honor. When she was first diagnosed with MS, she didn't let it define her. She was relentless in resisting the effects of the disease. She continued to work as symptoms increased. She stayed active, managing to get to soccer games and cook most dinners. She was honest about her diagnosis with everyone, bringing a positive and realistic attitude to everything. Do you believe in love at first sight? I do. It happened to me. Debbie and I met in college. We were both involved with others, so not following up on the attraction, we became great friends. hard to read through the tears. The best day of my life was when things changed 7 years later. Changed 7 years later, and we found out that we felt the same way about each other. We giddily called ourselves soulmates as we shared interests, hobbies, lifestyle, musical preferences. We were inseparable, yet we had the trust to allow each other to pursue their interests individually. We were the best friends, always, and still in love. We had fun. We had a playful banter, and I can't mention one of her pet names for me here. Just some of you know. Right? Our marriage was based on trust, sharing, and family. We were home buddies, loved home. Yet our passion for music, the arts, sports, cooking, food fueled our active lifestyle. We didn't slow down as her disease affected her mobility. She didn't allow the liabilities as they developed to stop her. She learned to write with her left hand when she lost dexterity in her right. We used the continuum of assisted aids to continue our active lifestyle. In her too short a life, we lived a lot, continuing to attend many concerts, exhibitions, events, and we traveled a bit as a couple, family trips to Europe, Israel, and around the USA, as well as many short trips as a couple. Now, you may give me some credit, but I was just following her lead and not giving in to the disability as limiting her. Remember, she made the fantasy of mine and many men of my generation fantasy come true. When she suggested when we first got the wheelchair van, let's take a road trip. So we drove to North Carolina for a 3-week trip. She built the most beautiful, nurturing, welcoming home and family environment. I always loved coming home through the kitchen door to the aromas of home-cooked meals. She kept the proverbial cookie jar filled for any visitors to help themselves to the world's best fresh-baked chocolate chip cookies, which you should help yourself to some examples for your pleasure at the reception. She loved her perennial gardens, and she made the most beautiful flower arrangements always displayed in our home. She kept me busy planting, splitting, picking flowers in all corners of our yard. We found co-parenting our children and partnering in family life to be easy since we shared and communicated so well. We had different styles of limit setting, but she was always the voice of reason. In 40 years together, we followed the advice of never going to bed angry with each other. She never banished me to the couch, although she threatened it many times because of my snoring. But she never followed through because she was just too nurturing and loving. She enriched my and so many others' lives so much. She left behind so much, sharing her love of life, knowledge, beauty, art. She had such talent in the thoughtful gifts of flower cuttings, arrangements, plants, baked goods, clothing, other crafting things that she made by hand. Many of you loved getting cards from her, even recently, some digitally or written for her. She met each challenge without complaining. She danced through life, love, and family with such appreciation and a positive attitude that we all miss her so much. But the stories will have to be enough. So, in light of tears. In the same light of the Jewish condolence, I know her memory is a blessing for all who knew her, because she leaves us with so many stories, lessons, beautiful gifts, which she shared with us, making the world and us richer. So, I'll end with these words of Kahel Gibran from the prophet. For what is it to die but to stand naked in the wind and melt into the sun? And what is it to cease breathing but to free the breath from its restless tides, and that it may rise and expand and seek God unencumbered? Only when you drink from the river of silence shall you indeed sing. And when you have reached the mountaintop, then you shall begin to climb. And when the earth shall claim your limbs, then you should truly dance. Keep dancing, honey.
You belong among the wildflowers. You belong in a boat out at sea. Sail away, kill off the hours. You belong somewhere you feel free. Run away, find you a lover. Go away somewhere bright and new. I have seen no other who compares with you. You belong among the wildflowers. You belong in a boat out at sea. You belong with your love on your arm. You belong somewhere you feel free. Run away, go find a lover. Run away, let your heart be your guide. You deserve the deepest of cover. You belong in that home by and by. You belong among the wildflowers. You belong somewhere close to me, far away from your trouble and worry. You belong somewhere you feel free. You belong somewhere you feel free.
we have come to the time in our service when we invite all those with a brief reflection, memory, or story about Debbie to come forward to this microphone or give a wave if you can't make it up. For folks who are watching live over YouTube, please share your memories and stories in the chat box for the Heller family to read later. We will have about 10 minutes for open sharing, so please keep your remarks short so others have the opportunity to share as well. Now please, come forward.
This is from our friend Gina. I'm so sad I'm unable to be with you, all of you today, but I'm grateful that there are so many wonderful people to support the Heller family during this great loss. I found Debbie to be a kind, generous, inclusive, and evolved human being. And if that were not so, Richard would never have allowed her to be a part of his sphere, that small, exclusive group of special friends. If he were here today, he would remember those wonderful chocolate chip cookies he was addicted to, so that she always had them ready when we appeared on your doorstep or when the guys came to us. If you look around the room and feel Debbie's presence, perhaps you'll see Richard as well. He always showed up for important events. Know that you have all my love, my heart, and my prayers during this time of great loss.
Hi, my name is Janet Klein. I'll introduce my friends here in a moment. I joined First Parish in 1995 and got to know Debbie on some committees we served together. Our friendship deepened when in 1997 we came together to form a mother-daughter book club along with 3 other moms and daughters. So it was Debbie and her daughter, Jessie, Holly and her daughter, Rose, Linda and Anita are away, but the 2 daughters, Stephanie and Rachel, are here. And me and my daughter, Hillary, and Hillary is now my son, Will. The kids were in 4th, 5th, and 6th grade, and though they liked to read, they had a great deal of hesitation about a book club, and they had terms that they insisted on. They would pick the books, only the kids would pick the books, and there would be no discussions of the books. Okay, well, that was a challenge. So we got creative. Each month, a mother and daughter duo would plan activities based on the book, and we did all kinds of crafts. We improvised scenes. We wrote poetry. One month, there was a game invented based on a book theme, of course, and we always had food prepared based on the book's theme, and food was always very important. So the months turned into years. The kids grew up, as you can see, and when they got to high school and became too busy, then it became just the mother book club, and then we got to pick the books. So now it's been nearly 25 years that our book club has met, and we've shared our lives along with enjoying reading the books together. Debbie, as you've heard, had a bounty of creativity in every area. Good-humored lover of music, gardening, food, and family, gifted professor of PT, and she shared her life and her talents with us. We were there the month she diagnosed her own illness, and we were there as it progressed. Always a full participant, she was researching titles for books to read, reading the selections on her iPad, and adapting as she needed to. And, you know, that became more and more difficult. She had a stylus that she held in her mouth to turn pages, and when she couldn't do that, she had her aides or Jeffrey turn her pages. But she was always reading, enjoying our meetings and family news and discussions, and always sharing food. What a gift to share so much of our lives together. It's been such a privilege and a blessing to have known Debbie, and in that intimate month-by-month format, with her astonishing courage and grace, her strength of spirit, and to witness the extraordinary care and love of her family's embrace. We'll not see another life like Debbie's, and Debbie, we won't forget you.
No, it's okay. I'm Stephanie. I remember one day at book club, we got to your house, it was at the Hellers, and Jesse had a ring, a necklace, something like that, and I remember a bunch of us were cooing at it. It was so pretty, and we asked about it, and Debbie said, Jesse, do you want to talk about it? Jesse said no, and the conversation was over. It was great. I think that was the first time I really learned about consent, just because people asked something, we didn't have to do it.
Professor Heller was my gross anatomy professor at Simmons College in the early 2000s. Gross anatomy, to most people, I would venture to say, is gross. To me, and I believe Professor Heller too, gross represented the enormity of honor and privilege of looking inside a human body. Professor Heller commanded respect in that Harvard anatomy lab in the most gentle way. With her kind eyes and encouraging words, one might underestimate the intensity of her expectations. When I approached Professor Heller one day to let her know I had some apprehension about a particular dissection coming up and that I didn't think I could do it, she said something to the effect of, Elizabeth, you'll make the decision that you're comfortable with, combined with a facial expression of, you'd better show up. When I ultimately chose to forego lab that day, fully expecting Professor Heller's disappointment, I was instead met with understanding that I had, in fact, chosen what I was comfortable with, but it was reflected in my grade. Almost 20 years later, when I told Debbie that story of how intimidated I felt, we just chuckled and she smiled her warm smile. She couldn't believe that I was nervous about disappointing her. Professor Heller stood with poise and authority in that lab and ensured that we honored and admired those people who had chosen to donate their bodies to our education. There was never a moment when I didn't also extend that admiration and respect to Professor Heller. She was my most influential mentor during my time at Simmons. So years later, when I had the opportunity to be her physical therapist, I couldn't imagine a person I would be more honored to treat. Little did I understand at that time how her mentorship would continue. But the lessons weren't about PT anymore, although we did have plenty of clinical discussions. The lessons were about raising children, the trials, the strife, the joy, about gardening, also the trials, the strife, and the joy, about book reviews of recently read books, about cooking and recipes, and about the challenges of living life to the fullest while living with a progressive disease. Debbie showed me grace and strength, determination, love, and acceptance. What an extraordinary woman who raised 3 beautiful children with her devoted husband, always her passionate advocate. I feel incredibly blessed to have traveled a road with her on her journey. As I grieved and told my 10-year-old that Debbie had passed, she had met Debbie and knew how special she was to me. I commented on how unfair it is when God takes someone so beautiful way too early in life. With compassion and innocence, she looked at me and said, Mom, if you were picking flowers in a garden, wouldn't you pick the most beautiful ones first? So with that, I thank you, Debbie, for sharing your beauty with me. You are so missed.
Hi, my name is David Dinnerman.
My wife, Linda, worked with Debbie at Sports Medicine under Bill Southmaid. I met my wife probably a year after Jeff and Debbie got married, and Jeff and Debbie were the first friends that I was introduced to on my wife's side. And we have been friends ever since, with pleasure. When we moved to California, we were obviously very dismayed when we heard that Debbie was diagnosed with MS, but we have kept in touch with them all of these years. And I have always made it a point to make the Heller House my first stop whenever I come back to Massachusetts. So, let's talk cookies. Everybody seems to have a cookie story. I got a good one. All right. So I'm in our house in Franklin. The phone rings. I pick it up, and it's Debbie. Sweet Debbie. But Debbie's not always sweet. She can turn. She can give you that verbal finger wag. Hi, David. How are you? Good, Deb. What's up? David, we got you on note. And here's why. I happen to be bouncing around, and I thought, well, I'll just drop by and say hi to Jeff and Debbie like I always do. Problem is, they weren't home. Okay? So, I was disappointed, and I wrote a note. And this is what the note said. Really sorry you weren't home. That's really disappointing. And even more disappointing is the fact that there's not one effing cookie in this jar. Of course, the problem is this was a month later. I forgot that I had written the note. And guess who found the note? Jesse. But not only that, effing was spelled out. So that is why I got the finger wag. Now, I could tell you, I could go on and on about the kinds of things that Debbie and I did and together, either with Jeff or behind his back, with Linda, behind her back. We just became famous friends, swapped recipes, we did all kinds of things together. But that one is the thing that stands out the most because we just had so much fun laughing about that, and I'm glad you did too.
Hi, everybody. My name is Marissa. I'm Trisha Godfrey's daughter, and thanks to my parents' friendship with Jeff and Deb, I gained Debbie as an aunt the moment that I was born. She was one of the first people I ever met, and with it, I gained a slightly bigger sister, and then soon to come a slightly younger sister, and then a little brother. And along with my sister and I, we just want to extend all our heartfelt condolences to a family that is truly part of our family. And I gained so much from her and spent so much time with her that as kids you don't really appreciate it, and if anything I just wish that I knew more of it once I was in it. But the endless Christmas, New Year's Eves and the endless ski trips and all the times we spent together, and she always just treated me like one of her own. I wouldn't have known that I wasn't actually her daughter because of the way she always treated me. But I do know that look that Jesse was talking about, especially when we were horsing around in New Year's and Chrissy fell headfirst into the bathtub, and I still remember that every time I walk by that bathroom. But I just wanted to say just how it's clear how infinitely loved she is and how forever loved she will be. And she's just gonna stay a part of me, and I'm gonna carry her with me forever. And I hope that in one of the many ways I wanna honor her, I just hope I can be as good of a friend to her kids as she was to my mom and my dad. And I hope she knows that I'm always gonna be there for them, and I'm always gonna take care of them. So I got you. Love you, Deb.
Thank you all so much for sharing. With grief in our hearts at Deb's loss, yet joy for all the happy times we shared with her, we pause together for a moment of quiet when we can reflect, remember, and rejoice that Debbie was a part of our lives. Amen. Please now rise in body or in spirit for our closing hymn, Down to the River to Pray. The lyrics are in your orders of service.
As I went down to the river to pray, studying about that good old way, and who shall wear the starry crown? Good Lord, show me the way. Oh, mourners, let's go down, let's go down, come on down. Oh, mourners, let's go down, down in the river to pray. As I went down in the river to pray, studying about that good old way, and who shall wear the starry crown? Good Lord, show me the way. Oh, children, let's go down, let's go down, come on down. Oh, children, let's go down, down to the river to pray. As I went down to the river to pray, studying about that good old way, and who shall wear the starry crown? Good Lord, show me the way. Oh, friends, let's go down, let's go down, come on down. Oh, friends, let's go down, down in the river to pray. As I went down to the river to pray, studying about that good old way, and who shall wear the starry crown? Good Lord, show me the way.
Thank you all so much for being here today on site and online. On behalf of Debbie's family, we are grateful for your presence at the service and for your presence in the arc of Debbie's life. And a special thanks to our babies, our children, our young parents here. From one young parent to another, your kids were really good today. For those of you here in Needham, again, you are welcome to join the Heller family for a reception in our parish hall after the service. It's just down the hallway here, right there. And please remember to take care of yourselves and one another in the coming weeks and months, when the hole that Debbie left in the fabric of our lives is most acutely and painfully felt. As we close our memorial celebration of Debbie's life, take these words from Unitarian Universalist minister and first parishioner of blessed memory, Reverend Ed Lane, with you as a benediction. Infinite source of mystery, of life, source of rest and peace for all who suffer, this life returns to peace long sought, to the source from which her life and all life begins. Sane and sacred death, in whom peace has been found and will be found for all of us, we fear you and yet rejoice in your comfort. As life and death are always joined, may the Spirit of life grant us healing for our hearts as we accept Debbie's death, and the courage to turn once again to life. May we have the strength to live with life and with death in the awareness that they come together in the beauty of the human spirit. Amen.
is a wild and precious thing. It don't grow on old magnolias or only blossom in the spring. No, the glory of true love is it will last your whole life through. Never will go out of fashion, always will look good on you. You can climb the highest mountain, touch the moon and stars above, but old faithful just a fountain compared to the glory of true love. Long before I met you, darling, Lord, I thought I had it all. I could have my lunch in London and my dinner in St. Paul. I got some friends in Albuquerque where the governor calls me Gov. You can give them all the goodwill for the glory of true love. You can climb the highest mountain, touch the moon and stars above, but old faithful's just a fountain compared to the glory of true love. Glory, 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 you can't never get enough. Time alone will tell the story of the glory of true love. Never get enough. Time alone will tell the story of the glory of true love.
Look around me, I can see my life before me, running rings around the way it used to be. I have than there've been fishes in the ocean, higher than any bird ever flew, longer than there've been stars up in the heavens. I've been in love with you, stronger than any mountain cathedral, truer than any tree ever grew, deeper than any forest primeval. I am in love with you. I'll bring fire in the winters, you'll send showers in the springs. We'll fly through the falls and summers with love on our wings. Through the years, as the fire starts to mellow, burning lines in the book of our lives, though the binding cracks and the pages start to yellow, I'll be in love with you. I'll be in love with you. Longer than there've been fishes in the ocean, higher than any bird ever flew, longer than there've been stars up in the heavens. I've been in love with you. I am in love with you.
Wait in the car on the side of the road. Let me go and stand a while. I wanna know you're there, but I wanna be alone. If only for a minute or two. I wanna see what it feels like to be without you. I wanna know the touch of my own skin against the sun again. don't know why I'm so in love with you. But if there were no music, then I would not get through. And I don't know why I know these things, but I do. I don't know why, but somewhere dreams come true.
everything. From her sun-tanned shoulders down to the freckles on her wedding ring. Her feet are so warm, they could melt the snow in the early spring. She is my everything. She goes everywhere. From Copenhagen to making eggs and bacon down in Jackson Square. I like to drive a Cadillac the color of her long black hair. She goes everywhere. Kisses that come all the way from China kinda remind her of memories of Spain. If I get lost, you can always find her standing right beside me in the rain. She uses the ever-ready batteries to keep her electrical appliances going steady. She can do 14 things at once and then her phone will ring. She is my everything. Muhammad Ali to teaching Bruce Lee how to do karate. She can lead a parade while putting on the shades in her Maserati. She knows everybody. Kisses that come all the way from China and to remind her of memories of Spain. If I get lost, you can always find her standing right beside me in the rain. She is my everything. When she wakes up in the morning, that's when the birdies start to sing. When I hear her voice, I tell you boys, I forget everything. Everything. She is my everything. Watch out.
impossible to pay all the things you gave away. So this flower I give will have to do. Well, this flower is my soul, but it's not half of what I owe. I should give you every rose that ever grew. But take this one here for a start, and you can keep it in your heart. I have everything I need because of you. For 10,000 lonely nights, it's not near enough to give you what I should. So I will owe you for a while, maybe longer than my time. I would give you all the world if I could. So this flower is my soul, but it's not half of what I owe. I should give you every rose that ever grew. Take this one here for a start, and you can keep it in your heart. I have everything I need because of you. I have everything I need because of you.
big man who couldn't handle a little bit of love you took. Hey, hey, have a heart. Hey, have a heart. You don't love me, why don't you let me go? Have a heart, please. Oh, don't you have a heart? Little by little you fade.
answers.